everybody, welcome back to the TokenPants channel. I'm Chris, aka Token Hero. And before we jump into this, you clicked on the video, you saw the title, so either you're A, agree with me right now, or B, you're like, fuck this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So before I even jump into, I want to preference this whole rant / discussion with the fact that, one, I did not like the prequels, okay? Two, my favorite Star Wars movie is Return of the Jedi. I know a lot of people say, oh, Empire is the best, Empire is the best. I don't agree. Maybe it's because I was about 7 years old when I saw Return of the Jedi. But there's so many things that make Return of the Jedi the best movie for me. The Jabba the Hutt skiff fight, the Slave Leia, the Endor battle, the speeders, the green lightsaber, Vader throwing the Emperor down the damn shaft. So many things that make Return of the Jedi my favorite. The prequels, didn't like them at all. They were fun to watch when I first saw them. I was just so amped up and so excited just to see a Star Wars movie for the longest time. But at least they are rewatchable for me. But I just don't think that they're good. And I think there were a lot of missteps and bad decisions made when those movies were done. So as far as like the books and the other canon that got deleted, one of my favorite stories is the Grand Admiral Thrawn story. Love it. I think it's fantastic. And I think there were so many awesome Star Wars stories that were made by people who get the franchise. They understood the franchise. They understood the characters and really did well when given the license to create these stories. Let's jump to Force Awakens. Force Awakens, I agree with a lot of people that there were a lot of familiar themes that J.J. Abrams used and familiar story beats of the first Episode 4, A New Hope. That being said, I liked Force Awakens. I really liked Force Awakens. I've seen it like 7 times. I thought the character interactions were fantastic, and J.J. Abrams did the characters justice. All of the old school characters, he did them justice. They were who they were. Now that's all said, this is why Star Wars The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars film in the franchise. The absolute worst. And I know you're thinking, oh, it's not as bad as the prequels. I'll get to it. It really is. Let's jump out the gate. The number one, first reason why this is the worst of the Star Wars movies. The director, Rian Johnson, decided to shit on everything J.J. Abrams was creating or had started the path for. I mean, like everything. Like anything that he was, it was just like, nope, we're done with that. That's a dumb idea. We're done with that. For instance, Snoke. Snoke was this mysterious figure, and again, I could be wrong on this. This could have been the story the whole time, and J.J. Abrams could have known this was the story the whole time. I don't think that's the case, because if you watch Force Awakens and then you watch Last Jedi right after, which I did twice, it is drastically different. He, like I said, got rid of Snoke instantaneously. No explanations, no descriptions, who he is, where he comes from, how did he become the leader of the First Order, nothing. Just got rid of him. I'm done with this guy. I don't like him. Bah, done. The Knights of Ren. Did you see him in the movie? I didn't. And if you remember in The Force Awakens, when they do the flashback sequences to how Kylo Ren came into power and all this other junk, you see him with the Knights of Ren. In The Last Jedi, they're not mentioned not one time. Like, what? If Kylo Ren knew he was going to try to overthrow Snoke, why wouldn't the Knights be there? That's his order. Like, beyond that, the setup with Rey's parents. Now, with Rey's parents, there's an argument to be made that it is like she's an orphan story. She came from nothing, and she was strong with the Force just on her own and no family line. Yeah, that's cool. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's never been done before. It has been done before. Anakin Skywalker was an orphan. Well, not an orphan, but he was like, a slave that was, was strong with the Force, came to power, blah, blah, blah. Okay? That being said, It's obvious that The Force Awakens had more planned for her parents. Clearly more planned for her parents. So I'm guessing her parents were either going to be Luke or Leia or maybe Kylo Ren's sister. Who knows? They were definitely going to be somebody established in the Star Wars universe. And it's clear by how he just trashed it. Like, the amount of time they spend on revealing Rey's parents is like this. It's infinitesimal. I mean, I could go on and on. Like, if you just watch The Force Awakens and watch The Last Jedi after, he abandoned so many plot threads and so many stories. It's ridiculous. Well, that kind of brings me to the second thing. The second thing that's wrong with this movie. Rian Johnson decides to change all of the characters in the movie as he sees fit. Luke Skywalker. If you watch episodes 4, 5, and 6, Luke Skywalker has always been about protecting and saving his family and his friends. His friends first, because he had no family, he thought, and he was super protective. If you watch episodes 4, 5, and 6, that's what he's doing. He's doing the Death Star run to protect his family, his friends. He's leaving Dagobah to go rescue Han and Leia. You know, like he, at the cost of limb, literally, and his own life, he will do whatever he can to save them. You fast forward to The Last Jedi, and they make Luke an almost family murderer? Like, what? He sneaks into Kylo Ren's hut when he's sleeping, senses that there's great power in him and great darkness, and for a split second is like, I'm just going to kill him while he's sleeping. No. Because Luke was faced with that same choice when he fought Darth Vader. And he stopped in the heat of anger and hatred and all the things that had happened in those films. And he was able to stop himself. And redeem his father. Which is a better message. And people will argue, well, he stopped himself in The Last Jedi. But he never would have, his character would have never gotten to that point. Ever. It's just so frustrating to see. I mean, it's a bigger problem as a whole to writers and directors when they take over an IP. When they're given an IP that doesn't belong to them, it's an established IP, billions and millions, whatever fans, there's a certain respect that has to be taken to those, to that film. And I'm not saying like movies are the most important thing in the world, but I feel like your emotions in your childhood is. Also, there's no reason to run it into the ground. It's just so frustrating to see The Last Jedi handled like this. And it's frustrating to know that maybe there was people on set that were like, oh man, I don't know about this, man. This is like not... Like, if you have people on set, which did happen, I read, that were like, well, I'm not feeling this. Like, I don't not know about this. I don't know about that. I mean, look what... I'm going to pause for a second, but this is what Mark Hamill said in an interview.
I said to Ryan, Jedis don't give up. I mean, even if he had a problem, he would... maybe take a year to try and regroup. But if he made a mistake, he would try and right that wrong. So right there, we had a fundamental difference. But it's not my story anymore. It's somebody else's story. And Ryan needed me to be a certain way to make the ending effective. That's the crux of my problem. Luke would never say that. I'm sorry. Well, in this version, see, I'm talking about the George Lucas Star Wars. This is the next generation of Star Wars. So I almost had to think of Luke as another character. Maybe he's Jake Skywalker. He's not my Luke Skywalker, but I had to do what Ryan wanted me to do because it serves the story well. But listen, I still haven't accepted it completely.
Guys, that was Luke himself. If you have Luke Skywalker on set telling you, I don't know, this Luke would never do this. Like, what do you... And you're like, no, I'll do it anyways. Or you don't get paid. Because that's the politically correct translation of what he was saying. He had to do it or he wasn't going to get paid. That's just how it was. So, like, I mean, look at Finn. Aside from Luke. Finn was a character who decided he couldn't do what the Empire was, the First Order was doing, decides to leave, right? Escapes. The whole first movie, he's trying to escape, but then he meets Rey, and you can tell he almost immediately falls in love with her. And the rest of the movie from that point on is him trying to help Rey and try to protect her the best he can. Reluctantly. You fast forward to this movie, he wakes up, no one's around him, he's squirting juice everywhere, and for the rest of the movie, his character is shit garbage. He goes back to his, I'm just gonna escape. Fuck all these people, I'm not helping anybody. And then the very next scene, he's like, oh, you know what? I'll be the one who infiltrate with this girl. We'll get it done. So like he even flip-flopped him within the same 10 minutes. And then Finn goes on to do nothing the entire movie. Nothing. If you took Finn's character out of this movie and the Asian girl that joined him, which by the way, I'll say right now, I like that Asian girl, the character. I liked her a lot. I thought she was funny, and I thought she was a cool addition to the movies. I just want to put that out there. However, her and Finn's character were useless. They contributed nothing to the story. If you cut them out, the movie still plays out the same. They did nothing. Well, with the exception of give the bad guys intel, which caused the deaths of hundreds of rebels. So, yay? Even to Rey. He even changed Rey a bit. Rey was very reluctant with the Force, with touching a lightsaber, all that stuff. She's on this island and she's all about the Force. She wants to know everything. She wants to be a Jedi tomorrow. You know, she wasn't any scared anymore. She wasn't apprehensive. You know, she's fucking jumping into fucking dark side pits. Like, it's just really, really, really sad. Rian Johnson, wanted so badly to be done, and it's clear in this movie when you watch it. He wanted so badly to be done with all of the old movies, with all of the strings, I guess, all of the strings that come with these movies, you know, Luke, Leia, and all this other stuff. So poorly done, and he kills so many people. Unabashedly, just kills so many people for no reason. I mean, even his directing style is terrible. Every point in the movie had no point to it. Every new plot beat, every new beat in the film went nowhere. Oh, we have to do this. This is our only chance. Fail. Nothing, you know. No, okay, let's do this. Fail. Oh, let's do this. Fail. Oh, let's do this. Fail. The only thing, especially towards the end, that I liked, the one thing that I liked was the commander, the admiral, or whatever her name was, when she turned the ship around and hit light speed through the brigade and destroyed all the ships. That was one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen in a movie. It looked fantastic. I had never seen anything like that done. Really cool idea. Should it have been the commander who did that? Fuck no. This is a random ass bitch I have never heard of. I think she was maybe in a comic once, but no one that has the weight in she didn't have any weight in the Star Wars universe. And especially since most people who watch these movies don't read the comics or read the books, so this girl was really a random chick that he gave one of the most powerful moments of the movie to. That clearly should have been Leia's moment. Like, that should have been the way Leia went out. She could have taken out the whole fucking brigade and it would have been amazing. But they gave it to this side commander lady who just was inconsequential. And like the whole movie, you're supposed to like, the way the dialogue is set up, you're supposed to have like reverence for her and like, this is how awesome she is. They mention a battle where she was awesome in, and they're like, we didn't see that battle. What are you talking about? It's one of those, that's a pet peeve of mine when movies do that. Start talking to you and give you a backstory about some big event that they don't care to show you or explain to you. Just casually reference it, but reference it so it has so much weight in the rest of the story. It just doesn't make sense. Also, I am all about, I'll tell you right now, I'm all about female empowerment and strong female characters. All of my favorite films are all about have strong female characters. So one thing I love about James Cameron is that he always puts a strong female lead front and center. I love that. However, I think because of what's going on in Hollywood now, I think Rian Johnson did a huge bunch of overcorrecting in this movie. Because, watch it again, and it was the second time I watched it where I realized all of the men in the movie are idiots and make terrible choices. Every man. All of the females in the movie, strong, smart, and get the job done. I don't know what the thinking there was that. Maybe it's a coincidence. Who knows? But it didn't help the movie. Not that it drug it down. But when you do something like that, you fuck up characters that are already established, like Finn and Luke and Poe. They turned Poe into mutineering idiots. Like, don't get me started on that whole fucking storyline. That ended up being nothing. It just... So many things went wrong with this movie, guys. So many goddamn things. There's a petition online right now that you can sign, and I encourage you to do so, to prevent the third movie from coming out, like delaying it, and have Disney redo the second part. Like, erase Last Jedi and just redo it. Give it to somebody else. And I've never said this about a movie, man, but I agree. They'll never do it. Ever do it. But it would be awesome if they did. Because this is definitely a dark footnote in the Star Wars chapters. And I'm not somebody who... I've said this before. I am somebody who likes happy endings. You know, I don't like being... Like, I go to the movies to feel uplifted and have an adventure. I don't go to the movies to feel shit on. You know what I mean? Like I got raped when I walk out. It's just not a good movie. There's a bunch of funny parts, a bunch of cool parts. It's not a good movie. Then there's shit in the movie that this should never have been. That was just like, why is this in here? For instance, the scene with Luke when he's on the planet and he's doing his day-to-day things and like there's a really cool scene where he fishes with a giant fucking 50-foot spear. Which was really cool. But then it shoots to him walking up to an animal. Oh, God. Walking up to an animal and milking it. Now, if this was like a cow type of animal, like it's on all fours, you can clearly see it's an animal. It's not intelligent, you know what I mean? And he gets milk and he drinks it, right? Okay. That's not what we saw. Rian Johnson decided to put in a humanoid-looking animal. That means the animal with, like, clearly distinct arms, legs, torso, and a head. And neck. Sitting upright, like a humanoid. They even have him sitting in like rocks, but the rocks form like a chair. So it looks like he's sitting in a rock chair. And it looks like he's just lounging like this. Now, if you want to take a guess where his nipples are, which, again, I think they're his nipples, they're right where his dick would be. Pretty on a humanoid that we know of, right? A human, an ape, or whatever. It's right where his dick the dick would be. He then proceeds to milk this thing with white, this liquid, and then he drinks it. When he does it, the animal doesn't like go like he's annoyed. It makes like a pleasurable moaning sound, like. And then Rey is watching on, and then the animal turns to look at her while she's watching them, while this being done, and Rey gets embarrassed and turns away. Rey's embarrassed because he is jacking off a damn animal. Like, what did that scene bring to the movie? Aside from being ridiculously gross. Not to mention, like, this is a family. Like, I love these movies. I like the mature themes it tackles. And I do think that the movies could be a little more gory. Like, lightsabers are freaking deadly, man. And you don't really see the outcomes of that. You know, battle blaster wounds, stuff like that. But even that being said, I wouldn't. If I had a kid, I wouldn't want my kid to see that scene. It's gross. It's disgusting, and it's overtly sexual, in my opinion. Overtly sexual. So I don't know if that speaks to a larger whole of who Rian Johnson is. I don't know. But it's a scene that was gross, didn't have to be there, because if you wanted to show his hermit everyday life, this is where he gets milk from, they could have shot it from behind the rock, from behind the animal's perspective, and you could have saw Luke get the milk, come back, and be like, oh, you know, milk, whatever. Why did he have to show it the way he did? It was fucking gross. It was just fucking gross. Chewie. So underused, it's sad. He drove a ship and ate a chicken and hit a button. That's what he did. Those little furry creatures on the planet where Luke was, I know they were designed to be cute and sell toys and probably and all that junk. However, the interaction Chewie has with them is funny in parts. But there's a scene where they show Chewie eating one. And at first initial glance, you're like, oh, whatever, it's just an animal. But it's not, though. These animals are highly intelligent and seem to have a community and a sense of loss and strong senses of emotion. When Chewie has one killed and he's about to eat it, the one is crying and is like standing there in shock looking at him, as you would be if you saw someone eating your fucking family member. That moves it from a joke to something disgusting Chewie did. Chewie killed a member of this creature's family and then ate it in front of him. And the creatures are obviously supposed to be intelligent. And like, the thing was crying. Like, that's not okay, man. Like, you don't show Chewie kill somebody and eat him just because it looked like an animal. This is Star Wars, man. These aliens can look like an animal, but be highly intelligent and be sentient and be like self-aware. And these little animals were clearly self-aware. Clearly self-aware. Again, another terrible decision. Like, and it probably seems I'm nitpicking at this point, but I'm just trying to illustrate the terrible decision after terrible decision in this movie. Right? It's just bad. And the reason I say it's the worst out of the films is because for me this movie isn't rewatchable. It's not. It doesn't get you excited at the end of it for the next film. It doesn't get you like, oh man, that pumped me up. As bad as the prequels are, I can rewatch the prequels. I can put it on in the background, watch something, and be like, that was a cool scene, that was a cool scene. I can appreciate it for what it tried to do and what it is. The Last Jedi, man, it's just, there's so many parts that are just unredeemable. Man, let's go to Force powers. Luke has been training for 40 years. Or however many years he's been gone, right? He is so strong with the Force by this time. We have all, collectively, people who have really loved Star Wars and have followed all the movies and read books of it, we have so badly wanted to see on screen a Jedi using his power at his full capability. Things you've never seen on screen before, that you've only seen in video games, really, like The Force Unleashed. And instead of giving us that, Rian Johnson gives us Luke Skywalker using a projection to dodge a couple lightsaber swings and then die. Because of the projection was used so much force, or what the fuck ever. Rian Johnson wanted to kill Luke. And he used the most weak-ass way to do it. In the movie, you're supposed to be like, oh, wow, he just used so much force to do that projection. He saved so many people. Oh, and now he just gets to become one with the Force and he disappears. No, it was a bitch way out, and it was just terribly done. There should have been a fight. It should have been Luke fighting Snoke. Is how Luke should have gone out. I don't mind him dying in the second film, but it should have been Luke against Snoke, and Snoke going out by taking out Snoke, using the best Force powers you've ever seen. That didn't happen. Let's go to Force powers. Later in the movie, towards the end of the movie, you see Kylo Ren use a Force push against the Commander guy. Throws him against the wall with just his mind. However, rewind like 30 minutes when he's fighting the Red Guards, the Emperor's guards, with Rey. He is getting his fucking ass whooped. Just handedly. To the point where Rey has to save him. And at no point does Kylo... I understand why Rey wouldn't, because Rey does not do it yet. But Kylo doesn't Force push anybody. In fact, he doesn't use a single Force power other than killing Snoke and turning the lightsaber. Why? Who knows? Maybe Rian Johnson doesn't like Force powers. Maybe Rian Johnson likes dueling. I don't know. But all of this stuff together, guys, makes The Last Jedi the worst Star Wars film in the canon. It's just so sad, man. They had such steam rolling into this from Force Awakens. And I feel it was a gross misstep, and I hope to God that they take away the new trilogy away from him. Of the whatever new storylines they were going to be making. They were going to give Rian Johnson his own trilogy to fuck with. I sincerely hope they take it away from him. He's not the guy for this. He's just not. He doesn't have enough respect for the IP. When a franchise movie, a franchise as big as Star Wars, you don't want your audience walking out of the theater like, oh man, like, what the fuck did I just watch? There should never be a doubt in 99% of the audience's heads, like, man, that was awesome, that was fun, and getting pumped, and you're so excited for that. Man, I can't wait to see the next one. You don't feel that way when you see Last Jedi. Agree with me or don't agree with me, I think it's pretty universally known you don't walk out of The Last Jedi feeling good. At all. And that's a problem. I really don't know what he was thinking. I'm telling you, man, you saw the video with Luke. When you've got Luke Skywalker himself telling you, this does not feel right. This is not what the character would do. Like, how do you not, as a director, step back and go, wow, okay, maybe I'm going too far at this point. Maybe this is too much. Maybe I should just wean it back a little bit. You know what I mean? Alright, well that's what I thought. I'm going to try to cut this down and edit it, but this is why The Last Jedi is the worst film in the Star Wars franchise. Will you guys tell me what you think? Please like, comment, and subscribe below. Click the little bell for notifications, but mention in the comments below, what do you think? Am I way off base here? Am I taking it too hard? I don't know. This is how I feel, guys. I feel it's the worst film in the franchise. All right, and as always, thanks for watching.